Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of our top 10 WWE WrestleManias of all time. In part 1 of the video, we recapped WrestleMania's 6 to 10, and by 6 to 10, I mean our top 6 to 10, not WrestleMania's 6 and 10. Actually, go check out that video. I'll link it below. We had to cut these into 2 parts because that video was running a little long. So right here, we're gonna.
I wanted to give you a bathroom break.
Yeah, so we're gonna do top 5 right now. I'm Glenn Gonzalez.
And I'm Alex Simon.
And let's start this off.
So number 5 on our greatest WrestleManias of all time list is
WrestleMania 20.
Now a lot of people may try to forget WrestleMania 20, but it happened and it was phenomenal.
I thought it was a beautiful WrestleMania. We had some great matches on that card.
And we're going to discuss them in quite a lot of detail as soon as I scroll and find where we are. Here we are, perfect. So we're going to start with the opening to that match. It was a large, crowded match, a lineup.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Mania 20 at that point, 2004, we had a very charismatic roster, to say the least.
Yes, 12 matches, and it was over 4.5. At the time, the longest, until we got these last couple Manias that were like 12 hours long.
Yeah.
So at the time, this was
Plus
the longest Mania. Yeah.
Let's start off. What do we have?
First one is John Cena Big Show for the U.S. title.
Now, this was John Cena had just turned on, I guess basically you could say it's his second face turn because he came in as a face.
Yes.
And this was his first, I think, real title win at this point, and it sort of coronated the John Cena era.
21 did. This sort of brought the idea that he was moving up in the world.
Yeah, this is like what made John Cena like a prominent figure.
The thing that's interesting about this was, at this time now, we've had all these pay-per-views. There's like 12 pay-per-views a year, and we were building characters faster than before. So that's why it only took like a year or so for Cena to come big, as opposed to Hogan or Savage. It took like 4 or 5 years to really grow into the names they are. So a lot of people didn't like it as much.
At this point, Cena had only been on the roster for going on 2 years, I believe.
Less than 2 years.
Yeah, because he came in 2002. This is 2004, so
yeah, so less than 2 years on the roster, and he's already. And I think this was his first Mania one. He wasn't in Mania
19. He was supposed to be. It was supposed to be some match, I remember, and it got cut. And they just had him on like Sunday Night Heat battle rapping people.
Well, regardless, he did more rapping here, but he beat Big Show, and it's always big when you beat him.
This match really made Cena look strong because he won with the FU.
Make him look strong.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the FU at the time, which was the attitude adjustment to all you youngins out there.
Yes.
But this time, Big Show was really at one of the heights of his weight gain, too.
True. So, whether you love or hate Big Show, whenever you lift Big Show up, it is impressive. It's always unbelievable. Even if Cena does it like 30 times, I'm impressed.
Yeah, now what else do we have on this card?
Next on this match there were 2 tag matches that were fatal 4-way tag matches, and on one of them was La Resistance versus the Dudleys versus Mark Jindrak and Lance Cade, and then Booker T and RVD, who were the champions, and they won again.
All right.
I don't know if you remember this match or not, but it was,
I remember the teams. I mean, La Resistance was Rene Dupree, Sylvain Grenier.
Friend stereotypes to the max.
Yeah, and
Jindrak and Cade, I don't remember much about.
I don't really remember. Like, I remember Garrison Cade when he first came in. His first match, he beat Lance Storm because of like Austin when he was like sheriff was like just making fun of Storm during his match. Or something. But
this match wasn't anything you're gonna remember on this card. But
Booker T and RVD, that's a great team.
They were an interesting team. They won this. But the next match coming up, Jericho and Christian. My opinion, one of the most underrated matches in Mania history.
Well, Christian himself is a very underrated wrestler, I feel.
And that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah, and this match ended in almost, like, wasn't it like a double turn?
Yeah, Trish betrayed Jericho, or I don't know what Trish was doing. They were, like, one of them wanted to sleep with her, or they both did, and Christian was found out to be, Jericho was found out to be nefarious, so I don't really know.
Yeah, like,
I remember being good.
Was Jericho the face going into this?
Yes, Jericho was the face coming out of it, and Christian turned heel because then Trish joined Christian, and that was made. The ending was great, a betrayal like that. It was the Canadian love. They were all three Canadians.
Canadian love triangle.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, really.
Next match is great in nostalgia, pretty good in execution, in my opinion. Rock and Sock versus Evolution.
This was great because so 3 people in this match are bona fide Hall of Famers.
I think 5 people are bona fide Hall of Famers.
I mean, at the time, Rock, Mick Foley, Ric Flair. And this was almost like giving a rub-off to Orton and Batista, who were still very green at the time, I want to say.
Yes, and the thing is, they all had different styles that meshed well, too. Flair's the veteran, Rock is the star, Foley's the wild card, Orton's the up-and-comer, and Batista's the power.
Yeah, so it was a very good match. It was weird that it was a handicap match.
It was because of the whole thing Triple H was doing, ruining everyone else's day and the rest of the lineup.
It also started because didn't Orton kick Foley down the stairs or something like that happened.
Yeah, I remember that. And the Orton Foley rivalry actually went on to be really good.
Oh,
they had that
their
match later at Backlash.
Match, which
a topper.
That's that match that they say made Orton a man.
Yeah, well, this is the match that made him a young adult.
Yeah, he went from being a pretty boy to all of a sudden get thrown on thumbtacks. That'll grow the hair on your chest real quick.
Assuming he stopped pooping in other people's bags, but that's a different thing.
Yeah, Randy, stop.
I think it's a little better. Next was an evening gown match. We don't really talk about this.
This evening gown match.
Yeah, the Miss Jackie and they had and Sable. I think might have been in this. No, this wasn't Sable. I don't remember who was in this.
20. I think wasn't that the Playboy Bunnies match they had?
No, that was 21. I think.
Was it?
Yeah, but this evening gown match here, it happened. Next better match we'll talk about, the Cruiserweight Open, the Chavo Guerrero Cruiserweight Open. It just gave all the. It was Chavo and Rey Mysterio and like 8 other cruiserweights, just seeing who could be a crazy person there. Yeah.
Who came out of this winner?
Chavo. It was really was Chavo versus Rey Mysterio, and the other 8 guys just got their little time in. Basically.
Yeah, because this is what months earlier is when Chavo just turned on Eddie.
Yes.
So they started going their separate ways, and Chavo, like always, gets pushed in the minor feud.
Well, yeah, that's it. On all great matches, Manias do have their black marks, and we come to Goldberg versus Lesnar.
The match that should have been fantastic in its time.
And still terrible at 33. I despise Goldberg
and
and
Lesnar.
Lesnar.
At 33.
We're not going to...
So, this match was built starting at the Rumble, where Lesnar lost his... No, Lesnar was champion for the Rumble, but...
Yes. And he lost it No Way Out to Guerrero.
Yeah, but...
And then Goldberg was eliminated by Lesnar at the Rumble.
Which was
by cheating or something.
Earlier, though.
Yeah, so it was just basically they grew together and hate each other.
There was something that had happened that caused Lesnar to interfere and throw Goldberg out of the Rumble that year. And then that started the whole feud where... in the get-go, the feud seemed like a dream match.
Yes.
Which... neither of the competitors cared at the ending because they were both leaving after that pay-per-view. It
made sense. It was going to be great, and it turns out they both just didn't give a crap.
Glorified collar and elbow tie-up match.
The thing about this is it was about 14 minutes, and it took until about 7 minutes for an actual wrestling maneuver to be used. I checked, besides a couple of holds and grabs, no actual maneuver was used till 7 minutes into this match.
And then basically, Stone Cold Steve Austin was the guest referee in this match, and the match in the long run, became all about him. Because, end of the match, he stuns Lesnar, and then he's celebrating with Goldberg, and then stuns Goldberg.
The rest of this card is much better. The rest of this card, the second... Well, this match is awful.
Yeah, coming off a year of Austin being retired, it was great to see him in the mix.
Sheriff Austin.
Yeah, and what better spot than in just a match with 2 ass kickers at the time?
Yeah.
It would have been great because Austin's that third wheel, and if they couldn't put on the match, Austin would be at least semi of a draw to watch it.
He was the face in a two-person heel match. That's what it was.
Especially in MSG, that New York crowd.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to something about that, too. Well, next was the other tag match, Haas and Benjamin versus APA versus the Basham Brothers.
Oh, the Basham Brothers.
Versus Rikishi and Sky Tuhati, who took the win as well. It was just a lot of dancing with Rikishi and Scotty, and everyone else did their moves.
But see, that's an interesting thing, too, because you're all right, Haas and Benjamin, probably one of the greatest tag teams of their time.
Oh, yeah.
The Bashams are an underrated tag team as well.
If anyone ever reads my other stuff, I refer to Shelton Benjamin as the Shelton Benjamin treatment, which is basically the way of saying is he steals the show but loses every match.
Yeah, but
it wasn't... describe it.
It might have been right after this. After this draft is when Benjamin went to Raw and beat Triple H 3 weeks in a row.
That happened? I just remember losing to Michaels 3 weeks in a row, or getting Sweet Chin Music.
Well, because that's what started his actual push, is him beating Hunter all the time.
Ah, okay. Regardless, this match was just a safe tag match for everyone.
Yeah, it was just a match to put in there.
I put this in my notes years ago, but there was a segment where Jesse Ventura came out. We're going to talk about this one.
Donald Trump.
Yes, and Jerry Lawler says maybe Jesse's running for president
Which would have been a great
Donald
thing.
Trump will be his VP.
That would have been terrible.
Let's move on from that and go to Molly Holly versus Victoria.
Which, this is the match that wasn't... No, this wasn't where Molly got her head shaved.
This was where Molly got her head shaved.
I always thought Trish Stratus did that for whatever reason.
No, it's a good match. This is her only match, actually, Molly Holly in Mania. It's good.
She was at 17.
Oh, no, she was in the... Oh, and okay, I take that back. She was in other matches.
Yeah.
But this was a decent match, just all about the haircut thing. And the haircut took so long, it actually ran into our next match, which was Guerrero versus Angle.
Which, arguably probably the second best match of the night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Guerrero and Angle, you can't ever think they would put on nothing short of a spectacular match. Which ends and Guerrero win, basically.
By cheating.
Yeah, that's what I mean by
face cheating.
That's what I mean by Guerrero win. He loosened up his boot. Angle tried putting in the ankle lock. The boot came off, and then he hit Angle with a small package.
He lies and cheats and steals as well. But just a great... these are two of the best technicians of all time, so you're guaranteed a fantastic match.
It was a great feud leading into it, because they had been, I think, feuding since the summer.
Yeah, I think you're... Yeah, no, I think that it was later than that, because it was... I thought it was only since, like, January, February.
No, it had to have been since the summer, because I think that feud started when Angle was SmackDown GM, and he kept screwing Eddie out of matches and stuff.
Oh, okay, no, maybe... I don't know when that was, but I do remember that happening, so that could work there. Next match, Taker versus Kane.
Great.
Well, you go, yeah.
Look, I think this is a great match, because this is a match that we saw the return of Dead Man Taker. Undertaker had been off camera since losing to Vince McMahon in a Buried Alive match at Survivor Series of that year due to Kane's interference, and this is a year after almost since Kane unmasked. So Kane was a whole new monster at this point.
I'm going to play the Demon's Advocate and say this match was not as good as it could have been because it was only like a 10-minute match. Yeah. The moment, great.
Yeah, the moment's great. The match itself has a bunch of botches in it.
And it's just there. It's never... I don't know why this match wasn't longer. And that's it. That's the end of WrestleMania 20. There was nothing...
Wait a minute. No. We still have the main event to talk about.
Oh, yeah, that happened. We have to talk about that, don't we?
Yes, we do, because it's as circumstantial as it is now. At the moment, this was one of the greatest WrestleMania moments
of all time. Best matches of all time, arguably.
And this is a triple threat match between Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit, who had won the Royal Rumble that year.
Another great Royal Rumble of all time, one of the best ones.
Now, say what you want about Chris Benoit and, the events that ended his life, but as a professional wrestler, he was definitely one of the greatest we have ever seen.
This Mania has, 5 of the best technicians I've ever in Mania history, and just to have them all in this crowd was why this is so high in our list here. And Benoit and Michaels are no exception. And Triple H, as a heel, is one of the best heels.
This was Triple H in his heel
Reign of Terror full heel mode.
And this main event, as we're gonna probably get to in our next thing, parallels so much to the Daniel Bryan rise because Benoit had won the Rumble. He was guaranteed a title match where whoever won it, he won a Triple H, and somehow Shawn Michaels just keeps putting in the way. Yeah. And this whole feud became more about Michaels and Hunter again. And, everyone just kind of shoved Benoit to the side, which in the end of the match, I think Hunter was the one who ended up tapping, right?
Yes. The good thing about this, at least, was that this was a well-planned storyline. We're going to talk about it really soon, as opposed to 30. This was a well-planned storyline that you didn't think Benoit actually would finally pull off the miracle, and he does. He gets these two, not monsters, they are the two of the best wrestlers of all time.
Two of the top stars at the time.
Yeah, he gets them out of the way finally, and becomes a mountaintop. Then him and Guerrero have that embrace.
That embrace with the confetti coming down.
That very painful embrace.
It's funny because, 4 years earlier, these guys had just come over as WCW invaders, the Radicals, yeah. And there was a point where no one thought WWE would properly push a WCW guy to the top, which, showing here, it was possible because 10 years earlier, 5 years earlier, you would have never thought these people would be main eventing a WrestleMania.
And it's just a great moment to go with there.
It was a great ending. It was a great show overall. Definitely better than Mania 10 years earlier.
We're going by the 10s, 30s, and 40s. Maybe WrestleMania 40 will be phenomenal because number 4 on our list is WrestleMania 30. Another one with a great ending and horrible a couple years down the road from there.
Now, WrestleMania 30 starts off with what?
Before we do that, my thing is, when I write about WrestleMania 30 is, if WWE was a television show, like a drama show, WrestleMania 30 is the great series finale. The best, the series finale, everything came together. It started not with a match, but with Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and Austin.
In the 30th anniversary.
Reuniting.
And Hogan not knowing where he is.
We're in the Silver Dome, brother. We'll get to the Silver Dome soon enough, Hogan.
Yeah. That was a great moment in the beginning, especially because after Hogan made the mistake everyone just came out and roasted him.
Oh yeah, The Rock and
was
Austin
great.
are great at this. It made him feel just like he belonged back in the Silverdome back there. And they share beer together. It's loving.
And it was funny too, because literally when they came out, after Hogan's mess up, they all just had this stupid smirk on their faces.
Whoops.
Great way to start off WrestleMania 30.
Even better way to start off match-wise is Daniel Bryan versus Triple H.
Yeah, this match apparently was a lot longer than I remember it being.
It's the longest match on the card, I believe.
Yeah, see, I thought this match, when I was watching it the first time, I thought this match was like a 10-minute match.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's 20 minutes, and it's a lot of Triple H at this time, not as powerful as he used to be, but got better technically in this match, because Bryan also is one of the great wrestlers at the time as well.
I mean, this match had the stipulation where if Daniel Bryan beat Triple H, he would be implanted into the main event title match, which was pretty much because of the whole Yes movement, which was Daniel Bryan's movement. And he was in a very organic movement where all the fans got behind him. They hashtag took over Raw.
Most of you that have read this know what happened leading up to there and know the story, but to get to this point was unbelievable. To actually get to this finally happening.
Triple H's match at that card was supposed to be him versus CM Punk.
Yeah, more of
Punk had walked out of the company 2 months earlier because he refused to work with Triple H,
which led to this. And Triple H loses as it should have been, but he still heals him over and injures his shoulder. And the whole night is that it? Is Daniel Bryan's shoulder going to cost him from winning the main event against two guys that are universally hated at this point for a lot of reasons? Next match is The Shield versus Kane and New Age Outlaws. It's a squash match.
A 5-second match, wasn't it?
Pretty much.
I mean, apparently this match was supposed to be a lot longer, but the opening segment with Hogan, Rock, and Austin ran way too long.
Yeah, that's true, and it's a shame because obviously you want to put over Kane, you want to put over The Shield and Kane and New Age Outlaws. Yeah. They did it, but not as well as it probably could have been.
Because it made them look strong, go figure.
One of our favorite ones.
But at the same time, the Outlaws had just come off being tag champs. Right?
Yes.
And Kane had just been corporate Kane, I think. Just started doing that.
Combined ages, I don't know if I have it here anymore, but it was 60 for the Shield and 150 for the other three. Yeah, so that's roughing up how...
I'm probably one of the only few people that I liked when the Outlaws came back and won the tag titles. I'm a big nostalgia guy, and I thought it was just fun to watch because Road Dogg can still talk on the mic like it's no one's business.
I'm against nostalgia title winners. Look at Triple H at 32. I was really against that.
I thought that was fun.
Next match on the card is my all-time favorite mark-out moment of all time, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal won by Cesaro.
Which, this...
I marked out like a kid at a candy store.
This is just proven fact, though, that up until Baron Corbin... anyone who won this Rumble, the Battle Royal, they did nothing with.
Well, no, there's only been 4 winners, and apparently being runner-up gets you WWE Champion right now, Jinder Mahal, so...
they've done nothing with Mojo since winning, though.
That's true.
But look at this. Cesaro, the next night, I believe it was, they put him with Paul Heyman.
It's a series finale. 30 is the series finale.
So they put Cesaro with Paul Heyman the next night, and
that's it. And
literally...
Rob Van Dam had something like that.
Yeah, but... the whole time he was with Heyman, it was basically just hyping up Brock Lesnar.
Here's a fun fact. You know whose final career match this was?
Whose?
Brad Maddox.
Oh, man.
You may know him as the Turkey, or you may know him as something else more recently. We'll go with the Turkey from Undertaker.
He's a worldwide internet video star now.
Yeah, but at that point, Cesaro winning was one of my favorite moments in WrestleMania history, and this Mania just was full of one of my favorite moments in WrestleMania history.
The ending of that was cool because he lifted the Big Show over the rope, didn't he?
He power slammed the Big Show. Yeah. It's one thing with Cena AAs, he power slammed him. It's a different.
Yeah, but maneuver. Big Show already was going through weight loss.
Next
it wasn't too tough.
That's true. It's still. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, next one. Speaking of people that can power the Big Show, it's Cena versus Wyatt, and another loses
career-ending match.
Yeah. Oh man.
Bray Wyatt, leading into this, was booked as one of the top heels, and he was getting over so well. His Fireflies had become a thing.
Oh, that phone thing was amazing. Yeah, I still love it every time. Now,
but ever since this match, Bray Wyatt has not had the momentum.
He didn't win the title.
He won the title for a month,
and then he lost it in a very bad Mania match.
Yeah, and Wyatt, he has the charisma. I think a lot of it's just WWE doesn't know what to do with him.
And this is the fine example. And they don't do it Cena, have him overcome the obstacles and win, as he did here. He had like 3-on-1. Wyatt's come out.
All right, so how is he supposed to be like the spiritual successor to The Undertaker when at least The Undertaker won his big matches?
The Undertaker beat him. How is he the spiritual successor to The Undertaker?
Yeah, I mean...
He's doing a reverse streak. He's going on the
because he's never won a Mania. Right?
Yeah, maybe that's what they're actually doing with him. They're trying to do the reverse streak.
They're acting like he's Dan Spivey.
Speaking of it, before we get to the streak and all, this Hall of Fame was particularly emotional because of, again, series finale should have ended the Ultimate Warrior's Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah, which, what was it, 2 days later?
2 days later, and he had a great Raw moment. So again, if this show ended and there was never wrestling again...
It would have ended on a high note.
Yeah.
I mean...
all the horrible things the Warrior did, he found his calling, he found his peace, they worked together. Well, now, speaking of, again, moments that were great at the time, in my opinion, Taker versus Lesnar.
Look, this match itself, Undertaker got injured, 5-10 minutes in the match?
Yeah, concussion.
Got a concussion, which this match could have been a lot better. It wasn't terrible for what it's worth.
If you look at 33, it's much better than 33.
Yeah,
So I was in a room with people when we were making bets on all the matches, and we're all making our picks, and we get to this match, and we're like, we can just skip over this, right? Taker's got this.
Yeah, I mean, this consistently, this was at the point that the streak was still a thing, and Taker did not lose at WrestleMania, which, I mean, even I read up until a week before,
a couple
Taker
days
was
or so
set to win this.
And again, the faces of the crowd when he loses, you can... absolutely the most shocking moment in WWE history, except for maybe San Martino losing, but not a lot of people saw that.
Yeah, but see, that was the whole thing, is that this was the one consistent everyone, I mean, I still think up until 33 that, this should have, if Taker was going to have a loss, he should only have this one loss.
And, no, once he happened there, you knew he had to lose again, because that was just going to happen. But this moment
probably
still
should have been his last,
that's the big thing.
You know what I mean?
As decent as 31 and 32 were, he should not have come back.
Yeah, even though his comeback against Lesnar was a great feud.
Yeah, it was a good match, too. I enjoyed it.
Because when he made that comeback, Taker was in a lot better shape physically, you could tell, than he was here, too.
Yes.
I never forget thinking that, seeing the way Undertaker looked going into this match, I was like, this guy's probably going to die soon.
There's just so much that you've heard on this match that's... we can't talk about it forever,
so,
I wish.
Brock Lesnar wins the match, ends the streak, and... this would have been a great match to end Mania with.
No, not with this Mania.
Oh, well, no, I mean, not end this Mania, but end a Mania.
A Mania, maybe, yeah. Once it did in 33, and it wasn't as good.
It wasn't as good in 33 for numerous reasons.
Yeah.
This match, though, it solidified Lesnar. Solidified? That's the word I said. Solidified. Solidified.
Solidified.
Yeah,
sodomized Lesnar is one of the...
No, it solidified Brock Lesnar as a monster, and
and he never lost. He didn't lose cleanly. I don't think he's lost cleanly since. Oh wait, Goldberg, that happened.
Well, no, because it was it.
He did not lose cleanly until Goldberg from that moment on. That was Lesnar's big thing.
Yeah, because he destroyed John Cena later that year.
Yes.
Which is funny because Cena beat him a year and a half earlier.
Yeah. So we have 2 more matches to talk about before we move on. The Divas Invitational with AJ Lee. It was just basically AJ Lee squashing 14 women for Vicky Guerrero. I'm
so happy AJ won this match.
Yeah, same.
Because, I mean, Total Divas had just got on, too, so people thought they were going to give it to one of the Bellas.
Oh, can you imagine that nightmare?
I would have hated my life.
Again, as I referred to him in part 1 and part of this Titty and Shitty Bella, you figure out which is which.
And speaking of Brad Maddox, as earlier, the next night Paige debuted on Raw.
That is true. That did happen.
And she took the belt off AJ Lee that next night, and AJ was gone for 3 months after that?
I think so, yeah, and then came back and did her thing.
But that brings us to the main event.
One of the greatest moments in WrestleMania
shades
history.
Shades of WrestleMania 20, in my opinion.
Exceeding it, in my opinion.
But shades, you had...
yes, that is true.
Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Batista.
Triple H guys, basically.
Triple H guys.
And Triple H there.
Yeah. And then a guy whose offense was a lot like Chris Benoit's.
His finishing move.
Crossface.
To his concussions causing his career to end.
Yeah, so it's weird that this was also exactly 10 years after the initial moment.
And it wasn't supposed to happen, too. It
was an organic moment that the crowd took over.
What happened? If this is Batista versus Orton, this might be in the bottom 10 list we talk about.
Because this would have been a terrible main event. And not putting anything against Batista and Orton, because they both
Look at Orton versus Wyatt last Mania. They were garbage because they're both not organic enough, or they're both not organic enough to be.
I mean, I think Wyatt is. But
that match didn't work.
But that's the whole thing is with Orton. I mean, you've probably read the reports that when Orton gets lazy, he gets like so uninterested. Like
he wasn't lazy here though. He was great here.
Because they did that
Batista
spot where it was the Batista bomb to like that neck breaker looking RKO through the table,
and he broke his back almost on the monitor.
Yeah, and then didn't they take like Bryan out on a stretcher there, and then he like came back.
Yeah, the whole thing was Bryan was supposed to be injured. The monitor happened by accident, and Orton was the one that really got hurt more.
That spot was like early on in the match too, to make it look like they're just gonna
midway or so.
But it was like they were gonna. It looked like they were gonna try to like troll everyone. It's, all right, you wanted him in the match. Well, he'll be in it for a little bit. We're just gonna take him out.
It's a long one. Daniel Bryan wrestled for about an hour in 2 matches there. Consider all the length of these matches.
He did a great job playing off the injured shoulder.
Oh, yeah. And then they came back, and you still thought for a while, crap, they're really going to give this to Batista or something like that.
Because of course they would. You know what I mean? Of course Vince backstage was like, the big guy.
He loves his big, muscly old men. But thankfully, he came to his senses and realized the fans needed this. This is a win for the fans.
This was, especially with the Occupy Raw.
You changed everything.
And especially because they wanted 30 to be a memorable moment. So that, if they didn't end it with something that was going to stand out, the Mania would probably be shot. The biggest moment of that Mania would be Lesnar ending the streak.
Which is still a big, huge moment. This is how great this Mania is to me, because a lot of moments were reached at like a pinnacle of a storyline.
Yeah.
And obviously, the reason that the top 3 are the top 3 is because they changed the way wrestling is looked at in a lot of ways, and that's why they made it there.
So let's go on to number 3, which is WrestleMania 3.
A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. The Silverdome, to be exact.
What is this, 1987?
1987. Now,
neither of us were born.
That is true. That is true. for many of you that may not have watched this Mania, I watched all of them recently, and I'm big on this. The lows were there, but when you compare the time period, how good this Mania was after 1 and 2, it blew it out of the water, and that's why it's this high.
Well, WrestleMania 2, one of the biggest flaws with WrestleMania 2 is that it was held in like 3 separate locations.
The matches were garbage too, but that's also there. One was big spectacle, but terrible matches.
Yeah, one was more for the publicity than anything.
I mean, you had celebrities aplenty, and then, we don't talk about one. Mr. T, Muhammad Ali, Cyndi Lauper, Liberace. So that's the thing, and Billy Martin. You had all these celebrities, but WrestleMania 3 comes along, and Vince and company finally figure out what their style is going to be.
It makes it a wrestling show again.
Yes, and it was unbelievable. And before we talk about the 2 big matches you know about, there's a lot of smaller matches. I don't want to talk about all of them. You have a lot of, like, Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules, just a bunch of roided beef guys.
I know who Hercules is. I have no idea who Billy Jack Haynes is.
He falls under, I have a category in my writings I refer to as the Owl Division, which is you see a wrestler and you say, who? Like an owl.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
and Billy Jack Haynes is one of those guys. Harley Race versus Junkyard Dog was a good match.
I mean, but right there, you got JYD and you got the King Harley Race. Like,
it was a good match there. I don't know if you've seen these matches, but I would recommend that one.
I've seen that. I mean, Harley Race is one of the toughest men in wrestling history. He's one of the NWA's greatest champions of all time.
Oh yeah, he is a reason a lot of wrestlers are who they are today, and actually a lot of headbutts.
Triple H, a lot of his offense is
Harley Race
offense.
Yeah,
from that flying knee to.
And the headbutt also was Harley Race, but even though it was more of a sloppy headbutt.
See, I thought the headbutt was a Dynamite Kid thing.
No, he took it from Harley Race, but every person that's done it since, Dynamite Kid, Benoit, Bryan, maybe should stop doing the headbutt.
No one's done it since Daniel Bryan.
Thankfully. Some other ones. There's a third really good match. There's also King Kong Bundy and midgets that happened.
I do remember that. That was
it's Vince's wet dream.
Yeah, that was a Bundy squash match, which, ouch to the midgets.
Exactly.
Short people, small people, little tiny guys.
And for celebrity, we had Alice Cooper appear in Honky Tonk Man versus Jake Roberts.
Cooper was in Honky Tonk Man. Oh, it was in Roberts' corner. Yeah, I remember that.
Or he was Roberts.
He was Roberts'
right,
corner,
yeah.
Because Roberts
and
was
that
grittiness to him. Yeah.
Yeah, and despite being a weird match, it's good for the time period. 80s wrestling is different from today. You got to realize that.
Yeah, 80s wrestling's a whole different sport in itself.
Obviously, you're not going to get red arrows out of the 80s wrestling, but you're going to get.
I don't think anyone back then could have done one.
that one could have dreamed it up here. But you
Hobby
still get
not
like
land IC champ at this point?
yes, no, yeah, I didn't think he was. No, he wasn't because we're about to talk about who was IC champ at that time.
Oh yeah, you're right. What am I saying?
So the third, and also Volkov and Sheik did their usual national anthem thing. I always love that.
Did they fight anyone?
They fought the Killer Bees.
Killer Bees.
B. Brian Blair and Jumping Jim Brunzell. They look like bees, basically. Their costumes were jokes.
Oh, you know what I was thinking of when you said that? I think Coco Beware.
No, it's the same thing. He might be in. No, he's not in this one. He is. He took on Butch Reed in a match.
The natural Butch Reed.
This is a match of two characters that are not explicitly racist, but it's
Butch
hard
Reed
to find
was
the argument.
Big jack guy, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he
man.
was huge, man.
He looked like he was. I was about to say he looked like Tony Atlas, but I think him and Tony Atlas had a team at some point somewhere.
Now, speaking of jack physiques, the third biggest match on the card was Roddy Piper versus Adrian Adonis. Now, by jack physiques, I mean no.
I mean, Roddy Piper, one of the greatest entertainers in pro wrestling history, one of the greatest talkers in pro wrestling history, and probably one of the greatest heels in pro wrestling history.
Oh yeah, hands down.
Adrian Adonis.
He was underrated as a wrestler, and he was given a horrible gimmick in WWE. But you saw it in ring.
I feel like it was like a Gorgeous George gimmick.
Basically, worse than Gorgeous. Like he was more effeminate than Gorgeous George and more unsightly because he was not a good-looking man, but he was a good wrestler.
He was not a good-looking man.
He was a good wrestler, though. That's the thing that a lot of people don't realize.
All right.
So, and it was just. This was Piper's first of 12 retirement matches.
This is a Piper retirement match?
Yeah, he was off to make the films after this.
Alright. This is the bubblegum stuff.
Yeah, it's a good match. Heenan, Beefcake appeared and did chopping scissors. Heenan was great as always. And now we come to the two matches that are mostly remembered for this card. It's a question of you like in-ring or substance, or style or substance type of thing.
Yeah, alright, so I'm going to say the next match is Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh, man. This match, in my opinion, is the greatest match up to that point in wrestling history.
Yeah,
and and this is before Hogan and Andre happened. So
now, Macho Man was, of course, Macho Man. You know what I mean? He had the polarizing character, but Steamboat was the underdog.
Steamboat is one of the great technicians of all time, underrated as well. He's in the short list of great, in the top 20 for sure, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he's like underrated by today's standards. But
yes. Well, remember his match against Jericho? He could still go.
That's what, 2009 he did that?
Yeah, so he proved he could still go.
But this match was almost like a wrestler's dream. There's been so many wrestlers now that if you ask them their favorite match, they'll say it's Steamboat and
Savage. The reason they do that is because this is the first match where they choreographed almost everything. And it had George Steele and Elizabeth involved.
The styles, too. Randy Savage had that energy to him where Steamboat was like, he was high-flying, but he was personality-wise.
High-flying for the time,
yeah. He was a lot more reserved. Savage, you saw like the adrenaline going through him.
And they meshed so well. And that's one of the comments I have for another Mania later on, how they could have done this again. But this match is, by far, as it stands, the greatest match for up to 1987, midway through WrestleMania 3. Yeah, and then you get to the end of WrestleMania 3.
Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
And you get the match that is the biggest moment in wrestling history.
The immovable force versus...
The unstoppable force meets the immovable object. Look at the size of the Giant. Hogan is 6'8".
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite lines
ever. This was one of Andre's final matches. Like he
had like 3 more.
But this is when I think they say he knew like his career was coming to an end.
This is his last match that he could be in a ring and not embarrass himself. Yeah, is how I would describe it.
They were saying like he already had the back issues going at this point.
Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't need to sell it to be a technical match. They had the story going for there. Hogan is the greatest champion ever, and Andre is undefeated monster. And Andre
undefeated in WWE's terms.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's undefeated. He's an undefeated monster, and Hogan. And he challenges Hogan for the title, and the question is, can Hogan really beat this 9,000-pound man?
And one of the other things leading into this was Hogan and Andre were friends, and Andre turned heel to go with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Andre had never, I think, in his tenure in WWE, received a title opportunity, and he was mad because Hogan had just been handed everything.
Because it is Hogan, so he got everything.
And I mean, the trophy story, how Hogan got the trophy for being WWE champion, Andre got like a smaller trophy for being undefeated for 15 years.
I love the story how they weren't sure if Andre was actually going to take the loss.
Oh yeah, because it was very unsure, and then he like agreed to do it because apparently Andre was a guy who would kind of just run his own game.
Yeah. So you look to the whole point of this match was that Hogan Wasn't sure if he was gonna beat Andre and actually lift him, and the whole match was Hogan and can he come to overcome the odds. Andre's beating him down, and finally that moment happened. That moment where the whole wrestling world stood in awe as he body slammed Andre the Giant.
You know what's funny is during this match, like Hogan kept going for that body slam. You know, personally, me, I would think that if after like the second try it didn't work, maybe I would try something new. But no, Hogan.
He did it like twice. He attempted it, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah, and then he was like, "I'm gonna get this,"
but little by little, like he weakened the Giant and brought him down at one point, then lifted him. Like that was the thing. He didn't. And the entrances. We didn't even talk about the entrances in this match. Like
was
the
this
carts.
the entrance? Well,
the long cart and Bob Uecker. And,
yeah, but I feel like, was this where Hogan like ran down to the ring? And because I remember Andre being on like, the cart coming down.
No, they both took the cart down.
Did they?
Yeah. But then Hogan won, celebrated the crowd as ecstatic. It's the greatest pure moment, arguably, in wrestling history from a wrestling standpoint.
They still show it everywhere. Even like when Hogan was blacklisted recently, they would still show the Mania 3 moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what kind of... I mean, at that point, that was the biggest WrestleMania, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, by far. And, remember, it was in front of like 150,000 people in the Silver Dome.
That's what kind of really jump-started Hulkamania almost. Because like he was a thing before this, but this was that moment that...
Yes.
No one thought possible.
Now, with all that being said, we have evolved in wrestling over time, and our 2-1s were the pinnacle of what wrestling
was at the time.
Was, and arguably might still be.
Yeah.
Although the wrestling may not be maybe better now, with the storytelling and everything come together. So number 2,
WrestleMania 19.
WrestleMania 19. In my eyes, the greatest card in a wrestling lineup, and I'm going to tell you who's in the card before we even get to the matches.
So we have.
In these cards, we included, on the same show, Undertaker, Big Show, Trish Stratus, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, Triple H, Booker T, Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, The Rock, Austin, Kurt Angle, and Brock Lesnar, all in one card.
Damn.
In one freaking card.
I'm surprised there's no Foley in there.
Me too. I don't even know if he appeared in this too. And spoiler, this had the greatest musical act of all time in Limp Bizkit.
Oh yeah, well, this was great because Taker, I think at this point had already changed his entrance theme, and then because Limp Bizkit was there, they performed "Rollin' for him."
Exactly. And let's get to the matches. I don't know if I mentioned Rey Mysterio as well. Rey Mysterio versus Matt Hardy was the first opening match. If that's your opening match, you already know you're in.
The lead up to this was great because Matt Hardy wanted to beat Mysterio for the Cruiserweight title, but he wasn't within weight limit of being a Cruiserweight.
Yeah.
So they kept doing the skits backstage of him like wearing sweatsuits and stuff just to drop down. I think it was like 221 at the time.
I think that sounds about right.
And then he went in there and beat Mysterio for the title.
It was unbelievable. And Mysterio dressed... No, Matt Hardy won. Matt Hardy won.
Was Hardy champion going into that?
That I don't remember. I
know he walked out with the title.
I think he was. I don't think Mysterio ever won it.
Okay.
And the next match... Okay, so Taker's on the card, and he's taking on A-Train, or whatever you want to call Matt Bloom, and The Big Show. And this match was unfortunately a bit of a downer because he was supposed to team with Nathan Jones.
Looks like the biggest flops in WWE history.
He looks amazing. He couldn't wrestle for crap. But he came in eventually and helped them interfere in the outside. I don't know why that was a thing. They couldn't just have the match with him in.
Well, they had shown it backstage that Nathan Jones had been taken out by A-Train at the Big Show. I don't know if they ever revealed it to be him. I think they just found him like backstage.
It would be. This is one of the weirder Taker matches. Not necessarily horrible. It's not Boss Man, but it's not.
I think they changed it day of to make it the handicap match.
That'd be why. Next up is the women's match: Stratus versus Jazz versus Victoria, which for a while was one of the best women's matches on the card in Mania history until 32. I think blew it out of the water, but
32.
Charlotte,
Sasha, yeah.
But this match was, for a while, an amazing match between three great women. And Stratus won this title, too. I think this might have been... I don't know if it was her first title.
No. Her first title was...
Well, she won it here, because I think Victoria was champion.
She won at Survivor Series of 2001. I was wrong earlier when I said Jazz won it. Jazz made her debut in that match, but I think Stratus won the belt.
Yeah. Okay, you're right about that, I think. So then this point, but she still won it again here, and it's another fine women's match. This match, if you told me this was a match and it wasn't a 6-way tag one, the Guerreros versus Benoit and Rhino and versus Team Angle. What a ridiculously technically skilled match to be like in the lower mid card of this
especially because
Mania.
all right, so The only downside you would see in this match is probably thinking of Rhino, right? But Rhino
he's still wrestling.
That's the whole thing. Is Rhino was such a powerhouse, and I think he's underrated for how good he actually is.
He just gored everyone. I can't complain either. Too.
He was. I mean, remember when he first came in 2001? He was just a vicious monster.
Pretty much, yeah.
He came in and just attacked.
And he's working with Benoit. Him and Benoit were a team, and you can imagine one's the technician, one's the powerhouse. And then the Guerreros and Team Angle are friends and buddies for life, so they work together in sync. And just a great match. Team Angle won.
Okay.
On that too.
Well, Team Angle in this is Benjamin and Haas still, right?
Yes.
Because Angle is the main event. Yeah,
exactly. So, speaking of matches that are unbelievable and one of the best ones, Chris Michaels.
Chris Michaels.
It's a steakhouse. That's like a steakhouse. Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. Chris Michaels versus Shawn Jericho. Might as well.
This match was fantastic because this all started, I think, originally with Jericho was already a heel and he attacked Michaels.
It was Rumble again, I think.
Yeah, and then we found out that like Jericho's like apparently like boyhood fantasy was Shawn Michaels.
He's only like 4 years younger than him,
I know,
but it's his boyhood fantasy.
It was his idol basically.
I mean, can you blame him?
Which Jericho at this point was great because this is when he was in his whole like really still heel rock and roll gimmick, I think.
Now the only downside is that Michaels was just coming out from his injuries. He wasn't fully seasoned yet. I mean, he's still great, but he wasn't fully seasoned to return. This is around the time
where I think Jericho started getting his injuries.
Yeah, and then he took a couple of years off.
Yeah, well, he took the couple years off 2 years later, but I mean, this was. Yeah, Safeco Field, Seattle. This happened.
Yeah, it's just I mean, these two are two of the best technicians, in-ring performers of all time. So you're guaranteed a great match.
The lead-up was great. Michaels proved he could still go because this was Michaels' first WrestleMania, I think, since coming back from the injury.
Yes, and he was in a couple matches before that, but he still proved that he can do all of his crazy stuff. Exactly. I thought his back was going to give out like every time I watched this.
You had Jericho hit his version of the Sweet Chin music, which I thought was funny. If you remember, he would like stomp the foot, but then he would do like this little shuffle before going into it.
Yeah.
And it was like hilarious because I mean you don't really beat Chris Jericho.
So brilliant, and the ending is even better too. Like they think like Michael's kind of like cheap roll up pin.
Oh yeah.
And then they hug each out, but then Jericho ball shots him.
Yeah, it looks like Jericho's about to like turn face out.
Like, no, I'm still a jerk.
Yeah, and then because that's when Michaels just slides down him and Jericho like grabs his head and just pushes him away.
They're just great wrestlers. They know how to play the game.
They know how to tell that story. And Jericho's a heel, man. Jericho's like the one guy who's as good of a heel as he is a face.
Yeah.
Like,
now I want to skip the Miller Lite cat fight because we're talking about top 10 manias of all time.
Yeah, that match.
That happened. It happened.
I don't think either of us or probably any of you out there
want to remember
that.
It's one of the worst matches of all time.
Yeah.
And speaking of other matches that we're gonna go to a match after that, which is also bad in another perspective. Triple H versus Booker T.
Now this match, another great lead up. Which, I mean, Triple H was basically doing everything he can to make it look like Booker T would never become a world champion in WWE, degrading him and all that. And
this is the match that made Triple H the jerk that everyone thinks him as, the shovel bearer.
Because Triple H made a comment where it was like, "Oh, Booker, a guy like you doesn't
can't be a champion." What does that mean?
It was like literally, he said, "You can't be a champion." And then Booker was like looking to overcome all the odds, and the match itself was a good match.
Yeah, and the thing is, everything about this match makes sense until the end.
Yeah, because it was like one pedigree that put Booker T away.
It was one pedigree, and he waited like 40 seconds. Is the whole thing there?
Which,
and Booker T, like before they did like a flip off the...
They did the Houston Hangover.
Yeah, the flip off the rope and everything. You're thinking, all right, and this was a good story here.
This was supposed to be like Booker T's like shining moment. Which up until also like going into this match, apparently they had set it for Booker to win and Triple H politic to win the match.
I still can't believe they did that, and this is definitely Triple H's lowest point as a human, I'd say. Well, there's some other ones. All right, there's 3 more matches. Now, these last 3 matches in the card are all phenomenal, and this is why it's number 2 on this list.
Okay.
Hogan versus McMahon.
Okay, so this match was a street fight.
If you told me that this match would be good, I thought you'd be crazy. Oh my god, what a match.
I mean, Vince McMahon is very underrated as a performer, I think, for the fact that he's not a great wrestler, but he knows how to take an ass kicking.
Oh yeah.
And when he fights, he looks violent when he fights.
And nothing in this match had all the storyline. Hogan and McMahon together ruled the world for 10 years.
And it was pretty much the whole story had come into culmination of who actually created Hulkamania.
Yeah, and they came in, and This had like interferences up the wazoo and beat ups.
This was Piper's return too, for what it was, where he came in as the guy in the trench coat.
Who am I going to take on here?
Hitting Hogan.
Yeah, and Hogan still wins.
And then this is where McMahon does that leg drop off the ladder and through the announce table.
I will 100%. This is McMahon's best match. 100%.
This could have been a bona fide match of the year candidate in 2003.
Not in 2003. In another year, if maybe like 2011, this could have been match of the year.
This might have been one of the most violent WrestleMania matches of all time.
And you didn't get and we didn't discuss Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels, another violent WrestleMania match.
2006. Yeah.
Vince knows how to make them violent. The second to last match is a bittersweet one. It is the third and final installment of Rock versus Austin.
Which, this was Stone Cold's last Mania match and last match in general until this point.
He's not coming back in a match.
Which, this wasn't supposed to be Austin's last match, but the night before Austin got admitted into the hospital because of chest pains.
Yeah.
Because apparently he was severely dehydrated, running off energy drinks, and he made the call then and there, that he needed to basically get his life intact.
And this was basically the finale of both of their careers in a different way. Like they were the Attitude Era, and we'll discuss that quite shortly. And they were the two that made it, and for them to come together like this and have one more match to give them give Austin a send off and Rock kind of like a new world.
Well, this was when Rock first became like Hollywood Rock too.
Yeah, so this when he became a new guy.
The Rock would leave
a year later.
A month later, because a month later he faced Goldberg.
Oh yeah, and then he had the WrestleMania.
Yeah, he would be back, but this was also interesting because The Rock had never beaten Austin before in a WrestleMania match, at least.
Yes.
And it was kind of The Rock's final attempt at doing so, and he was able to do so.
And The Rock finally got his moment, and Austin was okay. Austin was good to send it off. I still love the end, though. It's a little standoffish where he rock bottoms him 3 times, and he goes to hug him and pushes Earl Hebner out of the way.
Yeah, well, at that point, Rock said he had to say something to Austin. He didn't need anyone to hear it.
So I mean, it's still in true to Rock form. He still.
It was also it was a good going down for Austin, because after each rock bottom until that third one, he kept kicking out.
Yes.
So it made it look like he was going down fighting, and it was another classic match.
It just fit.
I'm still upset that Austin lost this, even though it was his last match.
He had to lose it.
Yeah, but I mean,
first two.
Look, how come Undertaker can never beat Brock Lesnar, but The Rock can finally come in and beat Austin? You know what I mean?
Undertaker did beat Brock Lesnar. He low blowed him or something.
It's shady finish, but I mean.
So it would make sense. Well, picking up Brock Lesnar, the final match of this card was Angle Lesnar. I mean, technically, how can you go wrong?
Technically, you can't go wrong with this match.
Until the end.
This match was back when Brock Lesnar was I'm going to use that word again. He was a bona fide wrestler still. He wasn't the fighter.
National champion.
Yeah, he wasn't this fighter gimmick we all come to know him as.
This was an amateur dream.
This was Brock Lesnar when Brock Lesnar was NCAA still credible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is an amateur dream of this match.
Now this match almost didn't happen because
did I know that?
Yeah, Angle had re-broken his neck, I heard.
Oh, that always happens.
Yeah, and Vince was going to take him out of the match, and he was going to drop the belt at a SmackDown or something. And the match I had heard for this was supposed to be Lesnar versus someone else, and I forgot who it is. But Angle said to Vince, he was like, "You're not taking me out of this match. I'm doing this match." Which is why immediately after this match, Angle was gone for 4 months for neck surgery.
That's right. Well, on the other side, you had Lesnar, who
decides to do a shooting star press, misses,
injured his neck in the process.
Yeah, but he only got a concussion. He could have killed himself.
That is ridiculous. I would be dead if I did that.
Now everyone thinks that this match was Lesnar's first shooting star press, but Lesnar had done the move successfully in the past at in
OVW.
OVW, yeah, and he did it fine for a guy of his size, damn near close to 300 pounds.
And he is amazing in every other aspect that you think, oh my god, this guy's powerhouse, technical, and a shooting star press. He's the perfect package. This ending is unbelievable, but he misses it, and instead we get an impromptu
F5, right?
Yeah,
Which
F5.
The F5 itself looked a little sloppy, but Lesnar.
Listen, he just bopped his head.
The fact that he did that without injuring Kurt Angle is
amazing.
But this was Lesnar's third title win, second title win. Second title win. His first one as a face, which because his first win was against The Rock the year earlier,
and then he lost it to Big Show, and then eventually.
You know your career's going places when you lose your belt to the Big Show.
Exactly. But overall, WrestleMania 19...
Fantastic.
The solid lineup, and the only reason it is not number 2 is because number 1 is...
Number 1. Without any question.
We both agreed, like, right from the start.
Right from the start, and a lot of people agree on this one. WrestleMania 17.
2001. The pinnacle of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, the pinnacle of the Attitude Era. This Mania also happened like 2 weeks after Vince had bought WCW.
That's right.
This was almost such like a celebratory WrestleMania for them as a company.
They knew that they were going to a new era after that. They won the Attitude Wars, and they said, let's go out with a bang.
Even in the crowd in like a skybox, if you watch, they had WCW wrestlers up there.
Yes, I do remember that happening.
And I think even it was funny because I don't think all of them who were up there even signed with the company when the invasion started.
So let's actually run through the card lineup because the first half actually is not that overwhelming. They're not bad matches, but then the second half it just absolutely kicked into overdrive.
Exactly.
First half, Regal versus Jericho. Good match. A good opening match.
Didn't he?
No, Jericho did.
Jericho won. All right.
Yeah, good opening match there. Regal lost both his matches at Mania.
Poor Regal.
But hey, you're getting 2 technicians. You're getting solid technicians here.
How dare they besmirch him.
Hey, something about pissing in a tea was...
Jericho went into his office because Regal at the time was still commissioner.
Yes.
And Jericho peed in his tea, and Regal drank it and said it tasted like tarty or something.
And before you know it, they're fighting for one of the titles, either European or Intercontinental.
I think it was the IC title. I think Jericho
was
yes,
because European was later on. I'll talk about here.
Okay.
So that happened. Jericho won it, or I don't know if I think he won it from him.
Okay.
And because Jericho has like 9 of these, and it's just a solid, good match. You can't go wrong with these two starting in a WrestleMania. This is how you start a Mania.
No, this might have been the European.
No, because Eddie Guerrero Test was.
Well, wait, okay.
We'll go into that because the next match is Right to Censor, one of my favorite gimmicks, versus APA and Taz.
Okay, so this match, I think this was the last time we saw Right to Censor as well.
They might have disbanded shortly after. It's just they're just stupid fun.
The month earlier, it was I think Right to Censor and No Way Out versus the APA and Jerry Lawler because that's when Lawler had left.
Puppies!
Yeah, he had left because they fired his wife, the cat, and he left in protest.
Best Mania of all time has Limp Bizkit and no Lawler. Just remember that.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this match, the Right to Censor, is something about their gimmick that always enticed me. Just who comes out to just blaring horns of hatred?
People from the network. That's who.
Yeah.
Especially the fun thing about Right to Censor is 2 of their people in their group were at one point the most uncensored
Val
people.
Venus and the Godfather,
who at the time was the Good Father. Yeah. Charles Wright, you've done so much for us.
But APA and Taz won as they should, and Bradshaw doing what he does best, bullying people. The match after this is Raven vs. Kane versus Big Show.
Oh my god, one of my favorite hardcore matches.
That's a fun match. It really is a good match.
This match went all around the arena, and I think
golf carts were used.
Golf carts, didn't Kane or Big Show go through like the stainless steel glass in the back?
Yes, and through like a wall
the
too.
Glass the wall. And the ending was my favorite thing because you had Big Show and Raven like fell into like the side of Mania, and Kane did like a diving elbow drop into it.
And Kane gets the win on that too.
This might be Kane's best Mania match, actually.
I had a stat on here. Combined WrestleMania matches from the 3 was like 32, 15 by Kane, 16 by Big Show, and like 1 by Raven.
I think this is Raven's only WrestleMania match.
One.
WWE, I think WWE so misused what Raven could have been.
Raven was never meant to be WWE guy, but he did good in this match.
But imagine like Raven in his prime in like a feud with like Bray Wyatt. That would be great.
Fun fact, I don't know if you were there. I met him at a house show with a picture of me flipping him off.
He looks really old now.
Yeah. Next one is this is the European. Oh yeah. Next one is Eddie Guerrero versus Tess. This is the European.
I don't remember this match, but this is right before Guerrero got released. And right as TNA broke up, Tess and Albert, and Tess was getting pushed.
Yeah, I remember. And it was a good match, but it ended kind of weird because the Radicals just kept getting involved, and it really was like Tess was the face, but he's getting beat up.
Tess versus the world.
Pretty much, and Tess lost because of that. So now we get to unbelievable Angle versus Benoit.
Yeah, see, I thought this was a title match, but this was not. Was this for Angle's gold medals?
No, actually maybe.
Because
Angle won it, so he didn't. I don't remember if
this
it was
wasn't a ladder match, was it?
No,
I think that match was a ladder match for the gold medal.
So it was not. We kind of had another ladder match that night to talk about.
We did. Yeah. One of the greatest ladder matches of all time.
But Angle and Benoit itself is another
great classic
match.
right there. That's just 2 wrestlers. I mean, Benoit coming out of the Heart Dungeon, Angle coming out of wrestling royalty of himself, basically.
I still prefer the Royal Rumble one they had in like 2003, but this is still a great match. This is still everything you want from
And this
Kane
is where
wrestlers.
Angle was still like semi-green. He had only been there for like a year and a half.
He grows so quickly. Like
They say he was one of the most
this
natural
so well.
people to like come into pro wrestling because he just got it from day one.
And that was what's great about it. And Benoit is one of the hardest trainers of all
of
time.
course. That was a fantastic match.
Next match, Ivory versus China. Not a great match, but fun to watch.
This was China's last match. No,
her last
Mania.
Her only Mania match, actually.
Her last match.
Oh no, that's not true.
Backlash 2001 against Lita.
Yes, but this is her only title win. That's what this was.
She won the title here off Ivory because the thing leading into this, I don't know if you remember, was Ivory was a part of Right to Censor. She was the women's champion, and in one of their matches they had, Val Venus came down and power drove China. Which set up like China's like broken neck.
She broke her neck in here, but she didn't show it here. She looked like the Amazon.
Yeah, apparently China is the quickest neck healer of all time.
Give it to Austin. I mean, come on.
See, Austin couldn't wrestle for like, what is it, 4 months? China, her thing was like January, and she was here for Mania.
Well, that's why it wasn't necessarily a good match, but they didn't let her take too much of an offense there.
Even though that broken neck was all gimmick.
That's true. One of my favorite things is
she powerbomber her.
Yeah, I love saying how after she hit her with the belt that she hulked up, but then I realized that She-Hulk. If you get that reference, great. If not, don't learn it.
If you get it, go find Jesus.
Yeah. The next match is, speaking of Crazy McMahon, it's Vince versus Shane.
Which, this might be Vince's greatest Mania match.
I still got to go with Hogan because of what he did, but this match is still...
This match had so much going for it. You had Mick Foley as the referee here.
Yes, you had the whole family drama.
Yeah, because Vince wanted a divorce from Linda, who then sent her into a nervous breakdown.
Comatose Linda.
And he was, like, drugging her to keep her comatose.
The fact that she stayed still in the chair for every show was amazing.
Yeah, and he was, like... At this time, like, sleeping with Trish Stratus or something.
That was happening, too.
But then Stephanie hated Trish, but she was still on Vince's side, where it was, like, pretty much everyone versus Shane.
Yeah, but it turned, as the match went along, it turned into everyone versus Vince. Like, everyone just started betraying, because I think Trish beat up Stephanie, and then Linda rose from her coma.
But they didn't... Yeah, well, Linda rose from her coma... When Vince was, I think he was about to hit Shane with like a trash can lid, right?
After they beat the crap out of each other first.
Because that was Trish's face turn because you found out she refused to give Linda the drugs.
Yes.
Because she was getting like so fed up with everything, and
all right, so that's why that was the first turn to there.
And then something happened, and I think Foley started beating up Vince, which is what put him in the corner to set up
referee fairness. Yeah, perfect referee fairness there. And then that was Shane's first coast to coast I can remember.
Yeah, because that was RVD's move in ECW,
and it was unbelievable. Terminator. And he still does it now too. And against Styles, he still did it.
Yeah, and a lot of this was fed up too because Shane had just bought WCW from under Vince, so they added that to the feud.
Yes. Man, we're going on almost an hour just for everyone talking about this. This has
been a fast hour.
I'll say, if you're having fun, you're enjoying it. We have 4 more matches to talk about how great this card was, and this one is the 1A to the what's the best match here, and it's the Hardys versus the Dudleys versus Edge and Christian.
Yeah, this was TLC 2, I believe.
Yes.
I mean, a year earlier, WrestleMania 2000 was just a ladder match, but it was basically a TLC match.
It was the only good match in the card of 2000.
The first announced TLC match was SummerSlam.
Yes, and I don't remember that one as much as this, but I'm sure it was wonderful.
I know it definitely involved Jeff Hardy diving off a ladder.
But this match culminated everything about them that made them great, including their partners. They all had the partners along too.
This I think was Spike's debut too.
Might have been. It was Spike Dudley, it was Lita, and Rhino.
For Edge and Christian.
Just coming in, and so it was like a 9-person
I remember
ladder fest.
I think this is where Lita got like gored through a table or something.
That happened. Jeff Hardy did another flip.
And then, Jeff did the flip to Rhino and Spike that were on the table, I think.
Yes, so they were on there. And then Jeff Hardy, somehow not dead, climbs the ladder again, and we know what happened there. And there's the only down thing about that was what Jeff Hardy originally was doing there was jumping from ladder to ladder, and he fell off the ladder.
I remember
them. If he connected even more, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, this match ended with Edge and Christian, I think, regaining the title.
They did.
Hardys might have had them going in, or Dudleys might have had them.
One of them, the Dudleys, had him going. Hardy's never had him going into there.
Yeah, I don't think Hardy's ever had them coming out either.
Exactly. But Edge and Christian won all of them, I think.
Edge and Christian, except for TLC 4, which was on SmackDown.
That was different. That was
one damn good TLC match.
But this match, in my opinion, and maybe yours as well, is the best ladder match of all time still.
Yeah, only because everything that was put into it came across so good.
And what can we say? It was perfection.
There was nothing wrong about it. Like,
next match in the card, while the worst match in ring, stupid fun, the gimmick battle royal.
Oh man, this was great because so this was basically gimmicks all throughout the years coming out.
You had great ones.
What was cool was like because WWE had just acquired WCW, they were able to
got
get
some
WCW
of those
guys.
like,
they had Okerlund
the Goon
and on commentary.
They were great on
yeah.
that. They stole the show earlier too.
You had the Goon. You had my boy Repo Man was in this.
You had Brother Love in his only match, and someone else in his only match.
Cornette was in this.
Uganda. The Ugandan giant.
Kamala. Was in here. Who else? Sergeant Slaughter was in it.
Now, if the bell never rang, this would be one of my favorite moments, but unfortunately the bell had to ring.
Wasn't the Gobbledygooker in this match?
He was. His only match as well. If this bell never rang, I'd be like, great, but then you had to see them wrestle, so that's the only downside to that.
And I think, Michael Hayes was in this, too.
He was.
Yeah, now...
You know the story about the ending?
Iron Sheik wins the match, and I think it's because he couldn't take the bump
exactly. They
ring.
were so afraid to throw him outside.
Because, Sheik was still... He looked like he was in great shape.
Well, he looked like a walking candy cane.
He definitely... But then, Sergeant Slaughter comes in and puts him in the Cobra Clutch.
Cobra Clutch. Yeah. It's the same thing. So America won in the end anyway.
Yeah.
But just stupid fun.
It was a WrestleMania moment for laughs.
And then we got serious for our last two matches. First was Triple H and Taker.
Which arguably is very underrated for their trifecta of matches at Mania. Because of this, we still had Biker Taker. And
yes.
This was just like an all-out brawl around the ring, too. I remember Triple H got chokeslammed off like a scaffold.
Now, the reason is, this is the all-time best ref bump in wrestling history. Mike Chioda takes a bump on a little, measly hit, I think he elbow dropped him or something, which they've taken all the time. You've seen, chair shots ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And he stays down and doesn't move for 20 minutes. And during that time, Triple H does that choke slam, and the refs check on, the medical staff checks on him, but no one bothers to check the knocked out referee in the middle of the ring
not moving
for 20 minutes.
The ending of this match was cool, too, because... Triple H looked like he was going to cheat to win.
Oh, sledgehammer.
Yeah, and then he grabs the sledgehammer while, Taker had him up in the last ride.
Yeah,
right?
and the ref is still half knocked out.
And then, as he looks like he's about to hit him, Taker just no, wait, did he drop him there? Or was he going for the pummels in the corner and Taker grabbed him into the last ride?
I think...
It's one of those two, because I know both those moments happened, I think.
I don't remember which one happened first, but I remember he hit the sledgehammer at one point.
Yeah, which I think that might have been the ending.
No, but Taker won, so obviously...
Well, no, he might have hit the sledgehammer. That's what I'm thinking.
That wasn't the ending, and the ending was later on.
The ending was the corner pummeling, and Taker just grabs from under him.
That might be the ending for that, unless he tombstoned as well.
No, he did do a tombstone in the match, which was... I think Taker's first tombstone.
Since he came back as
he did
Biker
the tombstone
Taker.
at Judgment Day to Triple H.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I think he stopped doing it after that.
And the last ride, it's a better move than the last ride anyway. And then there's this one little match happened at the end.
It's called Austin versus The Rock for the WWE Championship. Now, Stone Cold had just come back from being run over by a car.
Because Rikishi did it for The Rock.
And Rock won the belt from Kurt Angle at No Way Out. Austin won the Rumble that year after getting taken out on his way in by Triple H because he screwed Triple H out of his match against Kurt Angle.
Now, the thing about this is they've already wrestled at WrestleMania 15, but that time Austin was the greatest thing ever and The Rock was just a great heel.
Yeah.
This time, they're both coming in as
superstars.
As the two best things to ever hit at the right time to the greatest Limp Bizkit opening ever.
Oh, my way, yeah.
Oh, I love Limp Bizkit. They were amazing at this.
The build-up to this match was cool because you saw parts where they would just go back and forth trying to hit their finishers on each other, and it shows in that promo.
Oh, yeah, and all those...
The only one who really ever hit it was Austin, and then Rock got one rock bottom, but then they made Deborah The Rock's manager for whatever reason.
That's the only thing I didn't like about the build-up. They didn't need to have Deborah involved. They could have just been these two.
But then towards the end, they just kind of dropped the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was always about these two. It really was. And Angle had his moments in it, but it was...
this match itself was phenomenal. Very back and forth, because at the time, up until the ending, it was just two faces going at it.
Definitely a top 5 in-ring WrestleMania match of all time. And
yeah, and the story that it told. I mean, the ending, I still...
Before we even get to the ending, they all did, like, every finisher they had. They did each other's finishers, the $1 Million Dream, a sharpshooter.
Yeah, it was great. And I think even Rock was... Because, Rock was getting booed because they were in Texas for this.
Yeah.
They were in Houston. I think they were in the Astrodome.
So now the ending comes, we talk about, and Vince comes out. Of course,
Vince comes out, still, like, battered and bloody, too.
I said give him credit for all the beating he takes.
Which... You know, we didn't need Vince in this match at all, but he comes out and basically hands Austin the chair to beat The Rock with. So that starts the Austin heel turn. And the fans start booing.
He kept beating him, but Rock wouldn't go down.
Yeah, he just kept beating him with that chair.
And stunners, and Rock sells the amazing stunner like always.
He's kicking out, looking like...
He Rock bottomed him at one point, too, I think, during the whole thing.
Yeah.
But then at the end, the last thing I remember, I'm so confused why they did this. It was just chair shots after chair shots.
And it ended with the chair shots.
Yeah,
right?
that was the last thing there, and then the pin. So
and, you know, this was so weird, too, because you think about it, Austin came back with a vengeance... to try to find out who ran him over, and he just got off the feud with Triple H.
Yes.
Who was like the biggest heel at the time. Only for Austin to turn heel, and the next night he joins forces with Triple H.
And then they become the two-man power trip, and that was interesting. The only thing is, if they had ended with him stunnering Vince instead of celebrating, I'd be satisfied with the ending even more, and that would be the...
Yeah, I mean, even Austin said, like, at the time, he thought it was cool, but he knew the moment he was doing it, he's like, this match should have ended... with even more of a double turn that he just stuns Vince.
At the end, keep everything the same, just get him at the end there.
And it makes it look like he just used Vince to win the belt, because then at that point, Austin would be like more of a tweener.
Yeah.
But he would still just be like stone cold, you know what I mean?
It still doesn't take away, it's one of the best matches of all time on the greatest Mania of all time.
One of the shoddiest endings, I feel, but the match itself, the build-up, was nothing short of almost perfect.
To me, still the best 4 hours of wrestling I've seen, and we come close. We've had some good pay-per-views, but
we haven't had a Mania
never had one
that has felt like that Mania again.
And when we talk in another time very soon, we're going to talk about Manias that felt the exact opposite.
Worst WrestleManias of all time.
Before we go, let's give a recap of what our ranking was for those of you that may have lost attention in the past hour and a half.
Actually, we're going on 2 hours now.
Yeah, so
between both videos.
Have fun watching.
So we're going to start from the honorable mention.
Yep,
our honorable mention was WrestleMania 21. Number 10 was WrestleMania 14. Number 9, WrestleMania 28. Number 8, WrestleMania 24. Number 7, WrestleMania 18. Number 6, WrestleMania 31. Number 5, WrestleMania 20. Number 4, WrestleMania 30. Number 3 was WrestleMania 3. Number 2 was WrestleMania 19. And number 1 was WrestleMania 17.
We hope you've enjoyed watching and reading through all those as well, too. We've had a blast.
Yeah, we're sorry this took as long as it has, over 2 hours between both videos. But if you stuck through for both the videos or even watched them part by part, thanks for watching. Give a like to the video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on pretty much everything at this point. They're going to be all over the place, so you never know what you're going to get. There's bound to be something that you're going to find for yourself. Check back. We're definitely going to be doing more top 10s, whether it be wrestling, whether it be...
We're nerds. We got all the things covered for you.
Exactly. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the other videos on the channel. You guys have a great day.
Take care.